Hello and a big welcome today for all of you out there and for you as well. Bex Hayward, thank you for
Hi.
coming. It's nice to see you.
Hi, nice to be along. Thank you for inviting me.
And yeah, it's exciting to hear about your path with the horses, where you are today and what you have experienced and what you are working with. So let's hear.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to talk about. I have
It's good.
many factors of things that I do horsewise. So
Yeah. How did you start? Have you been with horses all your life, or you just get into this now, or how is it?
yeah, so I'm from a completely non-horsey family. So
Mm.
none of my family have ever been into horses. But when I was 4 years old, I was like, I want to ride, I want to ride. And eventually my mum took me to a local riding stables. And that was it. I've been horse obsessed ever since. So yeah, it's been difficult because, when you don't have a horsey family, it can be more difficult to go to competitions and things.
Mm.
I'm always quite envious of people that turn up to competitions with their mum and their mum's helped them bath their horse and plait it and
Mm.
drive them there. And, my dad was very good. He used to drive me in the trailer when I was younger to competitions and help me poop it. But other than that, they didn't really know how to do anything with horses more than that. So
No.
I've had to teach myself or learn from other people around me or instructors um, to get to where I am. So
Yeah. It was the same for me. My father was allergic and my mother was afraid of horses. So
okay.
yeah, but I think somehow we get more interested than if you have it close to you, I think.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, because you have to work harder
Yeah.
to get anywhere with it. So yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people that grow up with horses end up losing the interest when they get to
Mm.
older teenagers because they know it's there and they can
Yes,
pick it up and put it down
that's
because their
right.
mum or dad will always be there to, look after the horse if they don't want to. But when you don't have that backup, it's you got to do it all yourself or not at all. So,
Mm.
mm,
That's right.
yeah.
And today you are have a work that also is horsey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I started up the Wide Boot Company in 2019. So the reason for that is I'm quite a muscular rider, quite curvy generally, but more muscular. And I always had big problems trying to find riding boots. So
Mm.
I used to buy one particular brand of boot. I think they might have been a Swedish brand. I think they were Hawker. They used to be a brand that was around,
Okay.
um, but they did really nice, affordable but nice leather riding boots that I used to buy. And then they stopped selling them, or I couldn't find them anywhere. So I was really stuck because I couldn't find any boots that fitted me. And the only company that I could find that did fit me was very expensive. And there was another company that was doing boots and they went bust for a while and weren't trading, so even they didn't have any boots that I could buy. So I just thought, someone must be able to do this better and
Yeah.
in a more affordable way. So I thought, I'm going to give it a go. So because I have a design background, so I actually have a degree in model making. So because of that, we used to do a lot of work on film set things and product samples, so making mock-ups of products. And we learned to use Photoshop to design things as well. So because I've been a graphic designer since I left university as well, I had a good skill set to be able to design something on Photoshop, do the measurements, think how it would work physically, and then I found a supplier or a couple of suppliers that were willing to do very small numbers of boots, because
Yeah.
that's the problem. A lot of suppliers are not interested in only doing a small order.
Yeah.
But I tried a company in China because I was recommended China had the best technology, and they were terrible. Like the samples were just awful. And then I had another set of samples that I had made in India, and that is now my supplier. So he is brilliant. He does such a good job for me, and he's so adaptable for my small orders. You know, sometimes I might run low on maybe just 1 or 2 pairs of something, and he'll allow me to order 2 pairs of one size and 3 pairs of another size, now that we have all the templates done.
Yeah. That's
So it's,
fantastic.
yeah, it is
And
great. I'd be
and
lost without
I
him.
can imagine also from China, I know the sizes. It's very difficult to get the right sizes from China.
Yeah. Yeah, the sizing wasn't so much the issue, it was just the quality. They
Yeah.
they didn't listen to a lot of the things I wanted done on the boots. They sent them made in fake leather. They weren't real leather.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
which was such a big thing that I'd asked. They had to be good quality real leather.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, that it was just an expensive mistake doing that. But
Mm.
it was only samples, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'm just so lucky I have my supplier. He's great, and it's a very ethical factory. They are a member of the Indian Business Association, so they pay fair wages and they have holiday pay, and you know
Okay.
they sort of work in a professional way and
Hmm.
with fair standards for their workers. So
It's
yeah,
it's
they're
good
really
for
good to
your
work.
conscience that you
Yeah.
know that it's okay in this. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was very worried about that, because
Yeah.
obviously trading with the Far East and everybody, you hear a lot of bad
Yes.
stories of, children working or things like that. There's none of that. It's all adult professional bootmakers working there, and
Mm.
yeah, that's good.
But how do you do that? Do you measure and then send please do these pairs, or you have uh, are the boots all the same, or how is that?
Yeah, so my very first ones that I made, I based it more on my personal measurements, and then I just sized it up and down slightly for the larger shoe sizes and the smaller shoe sizes. So just made the height slightly less or taller depending on the shoe size. And then when I had my samples, I ran a massive survey. So I went on all of the rider pages for curvier riders, and I was like, I really want to help you get boots that will fit you. Please help me by filling out this survey,
Mm?
and I will give you a discount code in exchange for when the boots are launched. You can get a discount on them.
Yeah.
So I don't know, probably about 100 people filled in my survey, and they were all people that couldn't buy Ariats or Tread Steps or, all the brand names that you get in the shops. And they all kindly filled out this survey with their measurements and some information about troubles that they had when buying boots or
Mm.
fitting issues that they had. And I took all of that feedback and went through it all. And then I used that to make my existing size charts. So, and as the company has grown, I've learnt more about my customer base and what they do and don't want. And so like a lot of my American and Canadian customers are very tall. So
Yeah.
I launched a tall wide and a tall regular fit. So some of them are just regular. My wide regular in my wide boot company is bigger than an Ariat regular, of course, but some of those people wanted my regular fit calf, but taller, because my regular fit was just a bit too short for them. So I introduced a new range for those people in the slightly taller cut. And then the tall wide is for like a much bigger calf size, people that are very, very tall and, you know, very muscular.
Yeah. I know the feeling. I remember when I was younger, I should have these boots, and I had to take the ones who were too big for my foot to fit my
Yeah.
my leg. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so many people have told me that they've
yeah,
ended up sizing up 1 or 2 shoe sizes just
yes,
to get half size, and it's actually quite dangerous trying to ride,
yeah,
you know, with your foot in a boot that is moving around because it's
mm,
too big for you.
yeah,
So yeah,
and not
and
very comfortable either.
no, and the other thing that I designed as well, because I noticed some of the brands that did do a slightly wider calf boot, they also made a very big ankle.
Yeah,
And most people that ride don't necessarily have a big ankle just because they've got a bigger calf.
no,
And again, when you're riding, you don't want your foot, you know, banging around in a big boot
no,
in the ankle. It's not comfortable. And the other problem is the leather drops down and
yes,
then you end up with ridges
mm-hmm,
digging into your ankle.
yeah,
So when I designed them to have a much more fitted ankle than other designs of boots. And when I took my boots to the British Equestrian Trade Association show in, I think it was March 2020, I actually won their design award, the Design Innovation Award for the unique shape of the boots.
mm,
So yeah, that was really great to win that. But yeah, so they are
yeah,
quite different.
yeah, yeah. That's fantastic. Do you have zippers in it, or it's a whole boot?
Sorry, zips.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, all of them have got zips because I just find the modern market, people don't want to be pulling them on with, you know,
No,
boots.
and I can imagine also when you have a smaller ankle, it's difficult to get into them if you don't have zips.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So all of them have a rear zip. I have some styles that have a full lace up, but I still have a zip on the back because people
Mm.
don't want to stand there for half an hour
No.
lacing
And then you got
lacing up.
sweaty and oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
know.
yeah. So you know, I try and take all of those things into consideration. And because I'm a rider myself and I'm always time poor, I'm always so busy, I'm always running late for my lessons and things. So
Okay.
I know I unload my horse and I'm literally like, throw the tack on, quick, quick, quick. And then it's like, right, zip the boot up, get on, off we go. Because I don't have all that time to spend getting ready and looking clean and tidy, unfortunately. I would love to. But no, I'm not organized or have enough time to be like that. So I try and make my products, you know, easy
Easy.
to put
Easy to
on.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
That's fantastic. Do you have a
Hmm.
lot of customers then?
It's quite a niche market.
Mm?
So obviously, if I was catering to more regular sizes, I would have a wider customer base, because I am catering to quite a unique sizing range. It does cut down my customer base. And also because I'm a relatively new company, it's quite hard to get word out there. So
Mm?
it's starting to get there. And I find social media is really the best way. People asking on groups, oh, I can't find boots to fit me. People tag my company now a lot.
Yes.
Um, so that's really how it's grown. Obviously, the first few months it was very difficult because people hadn't heard of me, they
No.
didn't trust me. And then we had COVID lockdown just after I launched the business,
Yeah.
which was a complete nightmare. All of my first order. So after I did this big trade show with the British Equestrian Trade Association, I had people that wanted to sell my boots on wholesale, and a lot of interest from, people in America, and suddenly the world shut down and my first order was on the benches. The leather was
Oh,
there being cut, and then it all stopped. So it was very difficult for me because people didn't know me or trust me, and they paid some money up front to have boots made, and then I couldn't give them those boots because of all the delays. So,
yeah,
most people were great and they were very patient about things. But yeah, it wasn't the best start as a new business. But now time has gone on, more people know my business. I've got 5-star reviews on my Facebook page. It's people are more willing to trust and know my business and spread the word about it, which is good. So I think I've got about 10,000 followers now across my
wow,
business page and TikTok and Instagram, and
yeah.
so
But
yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot, 10,000. Then it's spread around, and yeah, it's
yeah, yeah. And I'd say, especially at the moment, because we have a cost of living crisis in the UK, people are not spending money on retail much at the
no,
moment.
no.
So actually the last order I did, so I just launched custom color boots so that my customers can order any of my styles of boots, but they can choose from a few different leather colors and some fun trims like crocodile type trims, or colors like pink and purple or silver, just so people can be able to order a bit more of a custom colored boot, to their preferences without the expense of going for a full custom boot somewhere else. So that order went in to my supplier a couple of months ago and is in production at the moment. And I think nearly 70% of those orders came from American and Canadian customers.
Hmm.
So, I do have a very loyal customer base, especially in the United States, which is nice. So,
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah.
But you would imagine that somebody had that idea in USA as well, but certainly no.
Yeah, there are a couple of companies that do wider calf boots, but apparently the quality isn't that great.
Okay.
And the leather is too soft for some people,
Yeah.
so it doesn't wear very well. Or they have issues with the zips breaking.
Mm, mm.
So, and my zips are very, very tough. Like, I don't get many, I think I can count on one hand how many people have contacted me because they've had an issue with a zip, and I've sold,
Okay.
hundreds, probably thousands of pairs of boots now.
Yeah.
So I have very, very good quality zips. That was one of the main things I really emphasized to my supplier. It
Yes.
had to have the best quality zip that we could get. Um, so yes, it's I think for that reason, a lot of the US customers come back to me now because they like the quality.
That's great. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah. And you also have something for horses' health. You told me so. So
Yeah.
please tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this product, actually. So because the boot company is, like I say, it's a niche market, it doesn't allow me to have a full-time wage still. So I still work doing other things alongside running the company.
Mm.
And the main thing that I do alongside the company is working for Hempine CBD. So Hempine is a hemp-based product. So CBD, you've probably heard a lot about it for human use. A lot of people are now using it for aches and pains, or other joint issues and things, in a oil dropper format. So Hempine have it's equine and canine. so hence the name Hempine. It is for horses, dogs. It's actually okay to use for other animals as well, but mainly we concentrate on horses and dogs. And it is a feed-based supplement that you can just add into the dog food or horse food, and just stir it in with their feed. And it's like a powder. So it's infused hemp flowers, infused with coconut oil. And the coconut oil makes the effects of the CBD better because it's like a carrier for the sort of active ingredients of the hempine. So it helps it to be absorbed into the body better. So we always suggest for people to do the powder if they can. Some people use the drops for their horses or dogs, but the powder is definitely the best way to do it. So, but I do.
And they eat it. They like to eat it.
Yeah, I mean, the odd one you get is a bit fussy with the taste initially. And obviously, because it's a natural product, between batches, the flavour can vary slightly because like any herbs or plants,
Mm-hmm.
they will vary slightly in taste, and hay even, sometimes we get
Yes,
horses that have one batch of hay and they're fine with that, but they don't like another batch from another
that's
field.
right. Yeah.
So, but generally, once they've had it a few times, they get used to it if they are a bit fussy. I've not had problems with any of my horses eating it. They all will eat it quite happily. And actually, my thoroughbred, who is the one I started on it initially before I worked for the company, she had quite bad joint issues, and she literally licked the bowl clean after a few days. I noticed she was literally, because she's quite a fussy eater, and she would usually leave a little bit of her feed, but now she always finishes the whole lot. So she obviously likes the taste.
Yeah, and sometimes always also the animals, if they need something in their body, they like the taste because they can feel that it's good for them somehow.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the results have been amazing. So I mean, I was recommended the product by a friend of mine. He actually owns the stallion that I bred my foal with. And he said, oh, this might be good for her mum, because it's my foal's mother who is the one that's got the arthritis, because she's an ex-race horse, so she's had a very hard early start to her life. And I thought, oh, I'm not sure, and then I read some reviews that the lady that owns the business sent me, and I was like, oh, this is actually quite amazing. So I thought, do you know what? I will try it. And I don't know if you've heard of Nip Tuck, who is Carl Hester. He's one of the Olympic dressage riders,
Yes,
and
yes.
Nip Tuck was his horse that went to Rio, to the Olympics.
Mhm.
And he is on Hempine now in his retirement. And he's living out in the field, and his owner, who half owns him with Carl Hester, I think, she feeds him it, and he absolutely loves it. So I was like, oh, if it's good enough for Olympic horse, it's good enough for my horse. So we'll
Yeah, it
try
should
it.
be.
And yes, and literally within 2 or 3 days of putting her on it, she was a completely different horse. Her movement was so much better. And
Wow.
yeah, and I don't know if you've heard of Arthramid, which is a joint injection that you can have done.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's like a gel that goes in between the joints. So I had her booked in to have she had one joint with a very bad issue with arthritis. And so I'd booked her into my vet to have this one joint injected. But obviously I could only afford to do one joint. And she was stiff in her hocks. She had a lot of general stiffness everywhere. And before I took her to the vet to have the Arthramid done, I wanted to get a good video of her on a proper surface, lunging her, to see her movement before the Arthramid and then afterwards as a record for myself. And she had been on Hempine for, I think, 2 or 3 days when I boxed her and took her to my friend's arena to lunge her there. And my friend said, she looks completely amazing. And I was like, I know, like I wasn't expecting her to be going around like this. And I was like, that stuff's obviously really works. And so my friend was like, wow, she said, I thought you might have to put her down after she had the foal because she was quite, I wasn't sure if you were going to keep her going or not. And I was like, yeah, of course I would. She's my special horse and I always would
Yeah.
try and do the best for her. But, that sort of shows the level of arthritis that she was experiencing. And so my friend was very impressed. And then I took her to the vets to have the arthramid done. And my vet was like, keep her on this supplement. It obviously is making a big difference to her. So I've kept her on it, and she's now back doing quite a bit of hacking. She's gone and done some pole clinics. So, and I didn't think she'd ever get back to doing anything like that. So, so it's very impressive. And so when they asked me to work with them, I was like, yes, I'd love to work with you, because I just knew how good the product was. And they are quite a small business like myself and are trying to build up more awareness of it. So I was, very happy to try and spread the word, because I know how well it works now. So it can benefit so many horses.
How is it with it? Must you give it all her life now, or is it just some month and then you stop a little, or how is it working?
Generally, you would just keep them on it all the time for a
Okay.
lameness issue. If it's like a ongoing lameness, arthritis that's going to get worse over time, just keep them on it all the time. Some horses that we've had on this before and after trial that I've been running, some of them are horses that have just got anxiety with certain things. So maybe riding away from home in a different arena, they find that difficult. So for those horses, you might just give it to them a day or two before you're going to do that, just to build up a little bit in their system. And you can give them more on the day that you're going to do that. So it can also work like that. For my thoroughbred, I just keep her on a very low dose every day. And then on the days I know she's going to be ridden, I just give her a bit more on those days. So she gets maybe the night before or the morning that she's going to be ridden, she gets more. So it's quite economical to do it that way. But it works for so many different things. Like horses that are anxious in the stable, horses that are anxious when they go away somewhere new. We've had horses that are weaving in the stable as well. I don't know if you know weaving, where they stand like this.
I know. Yeah.
It's worked with some of those horses as well to stop them doing that. Horses that are difficult to lead in hand and handle, or maybe they're difficult for the farrier. When the farrier comes to shoe them or trim them, it's good for that. You can give them a higher dose maybe, or just use it before the farrier is going to be coming, and you can use it just like that. So yeah, it's really good, but it's the only problem with it is it's not competition legal.
No,
so
I would think,
yeah, so if you are wanting to compete, you can use it, but I think it's about a 10 to 14 day withdrawal period.
Yeah.
So as long as you take them off it, before your competition, then you can still use it. So
yeah. But if you compete with a horse, you should not compete with a horse who is not well in the body. So yeah.
Yes. Obviously for anxiety related issues, that's
Okay.
A lot of younger, healthier horses
Yeah.
could be included in that. For instance, one of the trial people that we had, and I love this so much. So this mother applied for her pony because her daughters had this 4-year-old pony, and she said, I don't know what to do. We've had the vet check it, the saddler, it's had its teeth checked, everything has been checked. And my daughters are scared to ride the pony because it was so anxious, and the pony kept bolting and running away with them and bucking, really, really quite severe behavior, and was throwing the children off onto the ground, and it was quite bad. And she said, the kids love this pony and they really, really want to carry on doing things with her, but they cry before they ride her. But every time I say, right, we should sell this pony, they cry even more and say, oh, but we love her. We don't, we don't want to give up on her. So she said, I want to apply for the trial because it might, I just don't know what else to try now. We've tried everything. So I was like, okay, great. So I thought, oh, this is quite a test of whether this is going to work or not, but a great one for trying it because, if it can work on that, then great. Anyway, so we sent her the product, and 3 days later, she sent me a video, and she's like, she's still a little bit nervous in the school, but she said, I can't believe the difference already. The girls are able to, if there's a problem, she's not bolting, she's just jittering around and then able to ride through it. So I was like, brilliant, carry on with it. Anyway, so 3 weeks later, this pony is now hacking out. It's going round fields without the mum holding on to them. She's hacking out by roads. She is able to be ridden in the arena with other horses next door, in the arena next door, because before that was a big problem. She was very anxious about other horses being near her in the arena. They had someone hedge cutting with power tools next to the arena, and she said, I couldn't believe it. She let the girls carry on riding and was fine. And then she even sent me a message after the trial had finished, and she said, we had the farrier out to trim her feet, and she said he was like, what have you done to this pony? It's completely different. And normally she cow kicks with her back leg, apparently, when he was trying to trim her feet. And she tried it once, and then apparently she rested her nose on him and went to sleep. And he was like, can't believe it's the same pony. So, and it's so nice when you get feedback like that. It makes it so worthwhile, because a lot of jobs can be you get people complaining a lot. People only contact you when things go wrong. And so to have, people contacting you going, oh, I just wanted to tell you this, look at this, wow, it's so great, I'm so happy. And, it's great. And another horse we had on the trial, he was completely written off by the vet. So the vets had done numerous tests on him for lameness. She had run out on the insurance money for him, so they'd literally done everything they could, and the vets had said, we don't know what's wrong with him. They found a few things wrong with him, but they tried to treat it, nothing really worked. And she contacted us for the trial and said, he's probably going to have to be put down. I don't know what else to do with him. He's not rideable. He's uncomfortable. And, I'm at I don't know what to do. And she was very upset about it. That horse is now back being hacked out. So he is now going out for walk hacks. Not, he's not going to be going flying around a jumping course. But he is now happy to walk and have a little trot or whatever out on a hack. And she's like, I can't believe it. I've got my horse back, basically. So, so it's very rewarding when you hear those stories. It's not a miracle cure. It's not going to work for every single horse, and it's it isn't a miracle cure, basically, but it does work for a lot of the cases that we're seeing. So
and my thought is just CBD. I think it's expensive, but how is it compared to the horse feed or yeah.
Yeah, so I would say I had my thoroughbred on, you know, an average joint supplement that was middle of the market price.
Yeah.
Obviously I've taken her off that now because she's swapped onto the Hempine CBD, and it works out pretty much the same cost for us as that.
Okay.
So yeah, it depends a lot on the size of the horse and how severe the problem is, because obviously the bigger the horse and the more lame it is, or the more anxious it is, the more you need to give for it to have an effect. But well, pretty much everybody that's done the trial has carried on using it and buying it. So they obviously feel it's worth the money to do it. But just for an example, I think my 1 kilogram tub it's about £100, and for my 15-1 thoroughbred, that will last her 2 months.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
£50 a month, about not even quite 50 actually, because that tub probably lasts her slightly over 2 months. So yeah, just under £50 a month, which isn't hugely expensive compared to most of these supplements and things. So
No. And if you know that it helps your horse, it's nothing.
well, exactly. And I think when you compare to the cost of some of the injections and things that you can pay,
Yes, the veterinary, everything. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've done the injection route with my thoroughbred before. She's had steroid injections in the past, and they work for a short time. But they are so expensive, and if you're going to have to pay every year or so to have them repeated, and the insurance won't pay out after they've done it once or twice.
No.
So it's expensive. I mean, it took me about 6 months to save up the money for the one joint arthramid injection that I had done, because it's a lot of money for me to find.
Yeah.
Just without any help from insurance. So because I don't insure her anymore because she's got so many issues, it's not worth paying insurance, because they're like, no, we won't pay for that, we won't pay for that, we won't pay for it.
That's right. And when they get older, you get nothing.
Yes, well, exactly. I mean, I don't know how insurance works where you are. Is it fairly similar with horse insurance? Or...
Yes, I think it's the same.
Yeah. So
and
you reach
very, very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but no, I think it's a great thing to try. And, we do trial pouches as well that people can try, so they can just make sure their horse likes to eat it and have a couple of days to see the effects. So, certainly if you've got a smaller, like a dog or a smaller pony, that trial pouch will last you enough to see a definite difference. So, yeah, it's great. It's really great. I'm so glad they asked me to work with them. I'm really happy to be doing things with them.
Yeah, sounds great. Really.
Yes. So I have a sip of my tea.
So if people wants to get in touch with you, either for the boots or for the CBD, where can they find you?
Yeah, so the best place to find me is on my Wide Boot Company Facebook page. So that's just the Wide Boot Company on Facebook. And I also have a YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel follows the things that I do with my horses competing. I forgot to say about that. So my main horse that I have is a Spanish PRE, and I imported him during lockdown unseen. So I couldn't go and try him in Spain because of lockdown rules. So I just decided I'm going to go for it and import him.
Yeah.
And he is a fantastic horse. And this year I took him to Royal Windsor and did the traditional tack class. So yeah, just after the King's coronation in the castle grounds of Windsor Castle. So he's been really great, and we've done all of that. So I follow things like that with my vlog that I do, and that's on YouTube, and you can find that at Bex WBC. So BEX WBC for the Wide Boot Company. So yeah, but I've got loads of different vlogs on there, and I've also got a good vlog that I did for Hempine before I started working for them, showing my thoroughbred being lunged and ridden before and after using the Hempine. So if anyone's interested in that, then that's a really good vlog to have a look and just see, you know, see the effect.
See the difference, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one to have. So they can see it with your own eyes.
Yeah, I really enjoy the vlogging because I think it's you know, it's a nice. I like to do it because I can look back on how I've got on with the horses, and when I'm having a bit of a down patch with competing, I might look back at my older videos and think, oh, you know, maybe the judge didn't like us today, but we had, you know, I look back and see the progress that we've made over the last year or two, and it's nice to sort of be able to look back at it all. And you know, a lot of people are very interested in the Spanish showing because it's quite unique, all the tack and turnout. It's very difficult to learn about it. It's quite specific, and they get very kind of not cross, but you know, they like you to get it right in the judging arena and make sure you've got the correct outfit, the correct hat to go with the right outfit. You know, there's a couple of different styles that you can go for. One is Doma Vaquera, which is the Spanish cowboy outfit, and then you've got the Alta Escuela, which is the Spanish riding school have, with the smart jackets and the grey suede saddles. And so, you know, a lot of people when they start out mix the two styles together by mistake and get it wrong. So it's a lot to learn. So I like to do the vlogs because I'm lucky enough I have a lot of contacts. Like his breeder is a very high up judge, and he knows all of the information about the outfits and turnout. And I have another friend as well who she's very, very good with all the different historical, you know, what's correct. So I try and share that information on my vlog so that other people can learn.
Yeah, that's great. That's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have a lot of things going on all the time. That's fantastic. You're just a horse girl.
I'm definitely a horse girl, and I'm definitely always very, very busy.
Yeah.
And sometimes very stressed trying to fit it all in, but
we never get bored. That's the way.
Oh, certainly never bored. There's always something to be doing. So yeah, especially with 4 horses, that definitely keeps me busy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I appreciate that you had got the time today to be here with me. It has been a very good experience, and nice to hear about everything going on.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me along, because you know it all helps to get the word out there about the businesses, and you know, it's always nice when people see these vlogs or podcasts and things, and they, oh, I didn't know about these boots. I've been looking for boots, or
That's
you know,
right.
so
Yeah.
it's a good way to get it out there, and it's always nice to chat to other people, you know, around the world as well. Especially, I love you know, talking to people about things, horsey things.
And the horse people has always something to talk about.
Oh yeah, exactly. I always say to people that if you can ride a horse, you can go anywhere in the world, you know, because it's the best way to see the world. If you can ride a horse, you can always get a job riding, grooming horses anywhere.
Yes.
And experience different cultures, and you know, you get to know I think the real people in the cultures, if you know about horses and can go and speak to them and hang out with them, and
Yeah,
I think it's a good way to get to know about other countries and their traditions, and yeah, it's good.
that's right. Yeah. So thank you so much again. And
You're welcome.
thank you, all of you out there who have been watching this and listened. So please subscribe if you want to see more, and follow us here on Horse and Health. And thank you very much, everybody. And I'll see you again in a week. Bye bye.
Bye.